One.
Hello, everybody. We're back. There, that's my intro. You happy now?
There we go. Yeah, we're back for a third podcast in a row, aren't we?
We're getting there. We're almost doing it regularly. Almost.
And we've got a review out there as well, which unfortunately the audio was a little bit messed up, but we hope you enjoy it anyway. So, Neri, you like to hear Neri or Rant, I should say. So you like to hear his voice. So now you hear it double as loud. So
yeah, you can either get a good podcast or you can get a regular one. You're not getting both lads. It's not happening.
Yeah,
it's not gonna. What was it? You text me like, yeah, we're pretty new at this, aren't we? It's like, yeah, we haven't done it in 4 years.
Yeah, it's not like we've done it before. And then it's like, I think I was on our channel. It was like, we've done over 100 videos now. So,
it's crazy. Although now we've done more videos in a week than we did in 4 years. So that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah,
where are we going now? What's this week's show all about?
Well, it's a little on the light side on some of the movies and TV stuff. But what I did have a couple of stuff to kind of go over. But I did want to actually hit on some of the gaming stuff. Not too heavily, because we're not like a massive gaming podcast. But it's still related to movies and TV. But just to
cut you off. I don't like that. I'm going in a different direction. Did your score for Gladiator drop from the time we did the podcast?
Well, I also want to talk about that. So I'll circle back to that in a second, and it has changed. But yeah, I just want to, just for anyone that's watching it, the first 5-10 minutes of this thing, we'll go over our Gladiator 2 review. As in, we'll just do like a quick summary. It won't have any spoilers in it, but it'll just be like our quick thoughts. But if you want to get into more detail and spoilers, for sure, go and watch that video. It's awesome. It is like an hour long, but it's like full of like super cool Easter eggs and obviously our thoughts.
Really, as long as the second film at this point.
Yeah, we could have just done a commentary.
That's how we do it.
But also another reason to do that is, I know Gladiator. It's a big film for me as well. It's a massive film for Rant. He loves it, so he's going to be quite critical on the second one and what his thoughts are. And then, just to quickly go back to the gaming stuff, I'll do a quick summary of kind of what's happened with the gaming stuff, the Switch, the Xbox, the PlayStations, the last like 4 or 5 years. But the main one was VR.
The last 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, because that's basically the last time we talked about it. So, but there is some cool stuff going on in the Quest VR, Apple Vision Pro area of, filming, for that kind of headset, and also just watching media. Which is super cool, but I'll go over that a bit later on.
I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'm just going to get a drink, but until we get sponsored by whoever I want to get us sponsored by, I'm not going to show the can. It's a very popular energy drink.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Does it give you wings?
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
It makes you a musician. There you go. People can figure it out. Okay. It's rock star. It's not a big deal, but
I don't think I've ever had a rock star before, so.
Well, I think I talked about this. This is a quick segue. The ads on, because I went back through some of the videos today. I'm cleaning up the channel a bit, and I'm like, I think my witch video is still taken down because it got flagged because all my big essay ones, they all have obviously footage from big movies.
Yeah.
And then like I'll show like a minute or 5 minutes or whatever I'll show of an actual, like, here's Terminator 2 and here's Mad Max, and every time I get a big clip being like, you can't use this. I'm like,
shit. If
this isn't a proper way of actually reviewing something, like, it's a 45-minute fucking video. I don't know what it is. But I noticed that the original one I did, The Witch by Robert Eggers, that's not on our channel right now, so I'm going to figure that out and put it back up.
Okay.
But my point about that was, we clearly don't do this for money because, A, we're idiots. We do it once every 4 years and we're broke. But, like, if I could get rid of ads on that, I would. Like, if I could say, give all the money to whoever, Warner Brothers, like, I don't give a shit. So between that and the podcast, it's like, we don't put ads in. We don't look for advertisers. We don't give any of that crap. So, but it's all automatic on YouTube's end. So
yeah, it does. It kind of adds those little quarterly things in and stuff. I had to laugh when you just said I was on our channel and I was cleaning it up. I'm like, what? So you deleted it all?
Yeah, I did.
You're like, I'm just going through our channel. I was like, this is no good. I don't like this either.
Let's go. No. Endgame. No, Endgame's gone. Justice League commentary. Delete.
I kind of did the same when I was going through, not cleaning up, but I was just looking through it, and like the reviews for Game of Thrones, and you could just, we're angry. because we basically reviewed the last season, didn't we? And we were just like, why is this happening? Like, but it's fun to kind of look through that concept. Yeah. It's fun to look.
Yeah, you're right. Like it definitely started like, oh, it's Game of Thrones, and then like, yeah, I remember, and we got to what was the episode where everything's at night? Like we were bitching about it, the cinematography. It was when the White Walkers are attacking.
Yeah. And well, the other thing with it was just from you mentioning it is that I think we were watching it on Crave. Or one of those shows, but the bit rate was awful. So the night scenes, you could barely see anything.
Just mud. It was pixelated mud.
It wasn't very good. It was like Netflix and the Mike Tyson. Yeah. So.
But I remember that episode, just to bitch on Game of Thrones 5 years after it's done, and it ends with spoiler because no one gives a crap. She kills the Witch King or whatever with the like Arya stabs him.
Yeah,
and I remember us talking about it and being like, it's a dream sequence, right? Like, this is going to not be, like, the next episode is going to be she's in a coma or, like, it was all a dream. And then our actually, like, it should have been, like, a giant warning sign of, like, this season is going to go so badly. Yeah. Just, like, it didn't end like that. It couldn't have ended like that. It can't be like this, right?
And the entire time, I mean, I want to say the entire... all the seasons of Game of Thrones, we were just wondering what the hell is going on with Bran, and it's just like, and it was building, and yes, I know he did some things here and there, and I know he's powerful, and I know what the outcome was, but that character had just such a awful kind of arc going on, and then I think it was like toward the last 3 seasons, just awful for him, really. It was like he was just
because it was clearly something that they had they had all the books used up, and they had to fill in the space, and it was like, he's a tree. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got a wheelchair now. He's cool, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like Professor X, but weird.
But weird. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Anyway, back to whatever nonsense we were on about.
Yeah, well, why don't we just kick it off with our very quick summaries of Gladiator 2, because that's like fresh in the mind. I know we got the review out there, but no spoilers, just in case someone's just skimming through this and we don't want to spoil all that. But like, I've got my general thoughts here. I've got a new score as well, and then your your thoughts, and maybe you've got a new score.
It's still a 5. It's a 5.
Okay,
I'm giving it a 5. The one thing I'll bring up that's non-spoilery is it would have been a better movie if Gladiator didn't exist.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a great movie. It just would have been better.
Sure.
But like the storyline is basically the same storyline. I talked about in our big review. The scenes are all there. Like the big major things you expect are there. There's big, huge action scenes. There's great acting from a lot of the people in it. The special effects, the costumes, the sets, all looks like a movie. Looks huge, looks great. But it's missing the magic that makes all those things work. Like, I didn't connect with the main character. I didn't connect with his story. The other parts of it felt rushed, and they felt like they were kind of put in to just, like I said, hit these markers that we expected. And for me, it just seemed a little bit too much of a product.
Yeah.
And when I first watched it and I was in the cinema, I loved it because it was big, it was popcorn, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I was enjoying it in the moment. But my point to you was, right after I'd seen it and I gave it a couple of days, the score started to whittle down, because I was like, you know what, I'm not really going to go back and watch this. I'm not really excited to see this.
What was your original score as well?
I was thinking like a 7. Like walking out of the cinema, first thing you would ask me is 7 out of 10. Part of that was I enjoyed it, and part of that was it didn't suck as much as I was afraid it could have, because I liked the original one so much.
Yeah.
What about you?
So mine is gone. I was a 7 when we reviewed it, and that was last week. Mine has just gone down a little, so it has gone down to 6.5. And honestly, the reason that's gone down to 6.5 is because of our review, in a way, because we just chatted about it and things kind of sank in. But there were a couple of scenes that came up just, because your YouTube, when you search for things, the algorithm, and it comes up. And there was a couple of original Gladiator movie scenes that came up. And it just hit me how similar that film is to it. And I just saw a couple of these scenes. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. And I was like, no. It's just too copycat, And you mentioned it in the review of those things. So that kind of bumped it down a little bit more because it was like even less original than I thought. Yeah. So, but in general, just to give my things, I did enjoy my time with it. Super immersive world. I like the score as well. This isn't really like a huge spoiler, but it does keep some of the music, which I thought was awesome. I like that carrying over. And then the villains as well were a big highlight for me as well. The villains in it. So, but yeah, that's about as far as I go with it. But 6.5. So it was a 7. 6.5. I know you went from a 7 to a 5. But yeah, overall,
I'm more bitter than you are.
Oh, of course. Cynical. I thought, honestly, I was kind of half expecting it to go down another 0.5 maybe from you or something. So,
well, here's something that almost knocked it down today. Was I listened to a different podcast? I can't believe it. I was a traitor. It was an interview with the cinematographer for Gladiator 2.
Okay.
Now he was the cinematographer for Gladiator 1. But it was very interesting what he was talking about Gladiator 2. I can't remember if I said this in our review, but it was a thing of when we were talking about it, it's like the sets were great, the costumes were great, and it looked good. But I couldn't remember a shot that was particularly great.
Right.
Like I can remember all of Gladiator, and there's some brilliant visual shots in there. Like, if you want to think of a great one, it's the walkout into the arena for the first time, and they've got this spinning 360 camera move, and you got that. There's a great shot of Maximus catching the sword on the horse, and obviously Joaquin Phoenix has some really nice shots when he's like as the Emperor, and there was nothing that was like visually unique in this one that was really great to see. And then it was interesting because the cinematographer said working with Ridley Scott on this movie was very different because now Ridley shoots everything. He has multiple cameras and he shoots everything. And if you're a cinematographer, that's the worst thing in the world because like with me and you, if you want to, we're not in the same room, but if we were, you could put a light, like you got a light now on your side of your face, right? And that would mean that to shoot my side of it, you'd have to put a light here so it matches when you cut back and forth. But if you're shooting two cameras at once, now it's really hard to make your light look good and my light look good.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And if you're shooting 3 cameras or 4 cameras, which Ridley Scott does, you're kind of just in a documentary world. Everything's going to look basically flat because you can't put shadows anywhere because if you're in a shadow when you're not supposed to be because you're walking. And he really laid into it in a refreshingly honest way about how it doesn't really help him for his job. It doesn't make the movie stand out visually.
Yeah.
I guess like the subtext is the movie looks good because they have a lot of money. But if they didn't have a lot of money, it wouldn't look that great. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
And on the side of that, I think a lot of comments on that were also people just saying, can't really blame Ridley Scott. He kind of wants these movies out and done because he's 86 years old. And if you're that old and you're like, well, do I spend all day shooting one shot or do I get 3 or 4 shots in?
Yeah.
Because just roll the cameras, let's go. So I said it in the review. I'm like, Ridley Scott can kind of do what he wants. The cinematographer said the same thing. He's earned the right to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of lose some of that Ridley Scottness where he's like, yeah, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to make sure that this shot is something you'll never see in any other movie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. So that was in another podcast, or they were like reviewing him.
That was in another podcast, a cinematographer filmmakers podcast. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think it only came out just this week. He was talking about it.
Okay, nice. Yeah, good.
But that's not. That was kind of like it didn't drop my score of the movie itself down, but it did make me think. Oh, that's kind of why I didn't visually connect to it. I think the example that we talked about. I'm trying not to spoil it, but there's a scene like more than halfway through the movie in the arena.
Yeah.
and lots of CGI. Like, you had a problem with some of the CGI that was in it.
Yeah.
And I had a problem with, like, the scene happens, they fight in the arena, and then the scene's over, and you're kind of like, well, why did we even watch that scene? Like, nothing really changed.
Mm.
And I remember that scene, like, visually, it's like, it was kind of boring. Like, it was messy and boring, and there was nothing that made you go, wow, look at this.
Right.
Even though it was supposed to be like, look what we've done to the Coliseum. Look at this great, battle that we've created for everybody to watch. I was like, didn't really feel any way important. I'm like, oh, that might be it. It's just kind of like, we'll shoot most of it on green screen and we'll fix it in post.
Yeah. The classic. We'll fix it in post.
The classic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so there's that.
Yeah. If people want to know more, it's a great review that we've done. So,
it's our best review ever on Gladiator 2. I'm going to say that right now.
The best one. And we're going to do a commentary soon on the first film.
On the original.
Seeing as everyone is, it's in their minds. This Gladiator stuff's in their minds. Is it still tracking well? I know we were saying it was doing pretty well last week. So
yeah, box office it's still up there, but now it's got the competition. You got
I know Moana's out.
Moana 2 and Wicked's out.
Oh yeah, those two are gonna do pretty well as well, aren't they? So
yeah, I saw was it Variety or somebody? They put a post up today saying the top 10 movies of 2024 are all sequels.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's not great.
No, it's not. Well, I guess because Inside Out 2 was one of them, wasn't it? So.
Inside Out 2 was one of them. Yeah, that was I think that's the biggest one. And Gladiator 2. Wicked is, I guess it's technically a sequel. Like, it is a sequel. But you wouldn't really say it's a sequel to The Wizard of Oz that came out 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But then you've also got, obviously, the animated movies are making sequels. The Marvel are all kind of sequel movies in that kind of respect.
Yeah.
They're really not pumping out anything brand new.
Yeah. Going off the Marvel stuff, I heard Captain America is not screening well, and it's going back to reshoots again. So
really, back to reshoots? Isn't it out next week or something?
It's
out now. I've got a ticket. I'm going to the cinema right now. It's on my phone.
It's a good question. I thought it was, but I want to say it's now next year, isn't it? So.
It is. I remember. Yeah, the trailer. I thought the trailer last week. I said the trailer looks nice.
Yeah,
and it was coming out because they have 2 out next year. They've got Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts #Thunderbolts *, whatever they're doing it.
Yeah, which that one looks pretty damn good. 14th of February, Valentine's Day now. So apparently it's just screening a little. It's not so well. And then I know when the trailer
hold up. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, I was looking at Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts will be later on, won't it?
Yeah, May 2nd.
Thunderbolts, I'm like, is one of the top ones I'm looking forward to. Like, just not just because it's Marvel, but out of anything, I'm quite looking forward to that. What was I going to say?
I liked the trailer. I watched the trailer, and then there was a special early release from a Comic-Con, I think Brazil Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. David Harbour, the guy who plays Alexei, he's pretty. He makes me laugh. Like he's got that character down, and you just know when a guy is enjoying the character.
Oh yeah.
Like Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, he was enjoying being that character.
100%, yeah.
And David Harbour, like Harbour, he's enjoying playing Alexei. Like, I think he's really got that twinkle in his eye of like, I'm having fun being here, and that just comes off the screen.
Yeah, in the trailer, his daughter like comes in, knocks on his door, and he's like, DoorDash, he's like talking about DoorDash or whatever, and she's like, no, it's your daughter, and she comes in, and then she's just like looking at him, and he's obviously like bummed out. He's just living in this crappy apartment, and she's like, are you fulfilled? It's like, are you fulfilled? And he's like, oh yes, very full, very filled. It's just, I love that line. Very full, very filled.
I love his line, and he's watching. They're in a car, and they're in a chase scene, and then out of nowhere you see the Winter Soldier come in, and he's looking in the rearview mirror, and he's like, the Winter Soldier, that guy's so cool.
He's so cool, yeah.
And I'm like, it's that perfect Marvel moment of like, that's exactly what everyone in the audience is thinking.
Yeah.
And just gets to play it. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
And he's also just like such a kind of a lazy character because that same scene they're shooting at the car and he's like, "Don't worry, it's bulletproof." And then they're smashing through the window and they're like, "It's not fucking bulletproof." He's like, "Well, it's kind of bulletproof." It's like, no, it's just a regular window. But he's just like, yeah.
I know we talked about trailers last week. I know what the movie is about, and I know what it means for the future of Marvel.
Okay.
Because I know too much about the comics.
Oh,
and they revealed something in the trailer. Do you want to know, or do you not want to know?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay with knowing. I did watch the trailer. There was a trailer that dropped this week, didn't it? Or last week, and it's got that. And I don't know who it is actually. The guy that was glowing with the yellow eyes or whatever.
Bob. Yeah. So yes, that's the. I knew it when I saw the Brazil trailer, and then in the other trailer we were talking about. But now they've completely shown it.
Yeah, now they've shown him a lot more, but it doesn't really give too much away. But they never showed him in the other ones that much. But yeah, no. Go ahead and reveal some stuff.
So that character is called Sentry, and originally Stephen Ewan from The Walking Dead and Beef and Ari. He's the voice in Invincible.
Yeah, I know He-Man.
So he was supposed to play that character. And for whatever reason, he pulled out, or there was scheduling conflicts, and he's not doing it. So this new unknown actor's playing it. The character himself everyone's just going to say it for the next year or 2 years. He's Marvel's Superman.
Oh, sheesh. Okay.
So he's like Thor level power, maybe more, maybe the most powerful character. And it's not a stupid way of introducing him. The way they did it in the comic was, he's always been there. He's been there since the very start with the Avengers, like in the comic Avengers. He was friends with Banner. He was friends with the Hulk.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, how could he be in the comics that long and we never know about him? He was a schizophrenic, or he's got split personality, or he's possessed. There's a lot of different things. But basically, he didn't like being a hero. He had problems with it. He has agoraphobia. He's got all these issues as a regular person.
Right.
And he needs confidence to become the hero. But he started to become scared of his powers, scared of this evil part of him. So he said, I want to stop. I think Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, so that's leading into the future movies.
Okay, right.
He said, I will help you, Bob and Robert. And they erased his memory. But also what happened is they erased everybody's memory of him. So this is the in-comic explanation of why this character has been around for 20 or 30 years in the comic world.
Doctor Strange Spider-Man thing, yeah?
Exactly. It's the Spider-Man thing of nobody will remember Robert. And nobody remembered him. Nobody knew who he was. And then obviously in the comic they have to bring him back because there's a big threat. But yeah, he's big, glowing. He kind of looks like Nuclear Man from Superman 4.
Okay.
He's big, glowing hair, glowing eyes, blonde, big, huge, strapping guy.
I didn't realize he was so powerful.
Yeah, he's able to stand up against the Hulk. He's able to stand up against Thor. He's something else.
Okay. So these guys, I'm not sure how he's being thrown into the mix just yet, but obviously these Thunderbolts can't stand up to him, but maybe they're working with him or something, but yeah.
I think they might go down that route of a lot of his personality is part of his powers. If he's feeling a certain way, he won't get up and fight. He won't do anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to be his friend. You got to kind of talk him around. And you have that. You have a bunch of losers, but they're lovable, and he becomes friends with them. You're like, okay, I can see where this movie's going to go. You're going to have this, and then you introduce this superhero at the end of it, and everyone's going to be like, oh, wow, who's this guy?
Yeah, that's cool. That makes me even more excited for it, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because they're not selling the movie on him, obviously, because he's not a well-known character. He's not anything special in that sense, but I think in the MCU world, he's probably going to be their replacement for Thor, because I don't know if Hemsworth's back. Hemsworth's taking a break for personal reasons.
Totally, yeah.
And they've never done a Hulk movie, so
yeah, no, they haven't, have they? I mean, maybe because in Captain America they got the Red Hulk, it might start something there, and they obviously had the She-Hulk. Though I saw She-Hulk, like Marvel had like their like a banner on their either on their website or somewhere. There's like a banner of all the heroes, and they replaced She-Hulk with who did they replace it with? They replaced him with someone.
Right.
But yeah, it was like, it's like they obviously are not a fan of the TV show because I think they cancelled season 2 of that as well. So.
Yeah, I like that show. I know people really hate it. I liked it. It was fine.
I didn't watch all of it. I watched a little bit, but yeah, it was okay. Good times. Good times.
All right, looking forward to that. But the point of this whole thing was Captain America is going to be shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be because all the other Captain Americas are really loved, and I like the transition of like Falcon and that the end of the Avengers, how all of that happened. So I like where it's all going, and then Bucky and the Winter Soldier and all that lot, the TV show that was great. So I hope it's good, but yeah, so far I from what I'm reading online, it's not screening that well. And also, I think they released a trailer a week or two ago, and it looked like it was like 2 or 3 different films, like edited together. It's funny how depending on who edits a trailer, they can get you like really pumped for something. But if it's not done right, it could like screw you up and be like, I don't know if I want to go watch that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's got the big name Captain America following it, so I think it should get quite a few people, out to the cinema to see it. But obviously, if the first bunch of people are like, "Oh, this is really, not great," then that's going to be a bad one for Marvel. Because, like, I feel like Marvel, it's okay for like the She-Hulks, the TV shows and stuff to kind of miss here and there. But I know, like, what was it? The Marvels that kind of didn't really do too well.
Yeah, kind of got screwed.
But again, if you got that,
like being $1 billion, it wasn't that.
Yeah, but it had the good old spoiler, guys. But it had the X-Men tease at the end, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
what is here's a random thought. Well, 2 random thoughts. First one is the guy who's playing Sentry in the Thunderbolts.
Yep.
I don't know if you recognize him. He's from Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, is he? Who is he?
Yeah. Bob in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh yeah, well, so I know. Yeah, I remember Bob with the glasses. So
yeah, and now he's playing Bob.
Oh, fun.
Thunderbolts. So I don't know if like that's his agent's just really good. Like, you got a Bob character, we got somebody for you right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the second thing I was just going to say there is, what do you think? Like, in the world we live in, what is the acceptable window of spoilers? For Marvel specifically, because Marvel, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to show you something. Like, is it a week? Is it a month? Like you said, X-Men for Captain Marvel 2, that came out a year ago, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, maybe 2 years. Yeah.
Like I think, at least with Marvel movies, those tags at the end of or mid credit or end credits, they're almost their own little thing. Like,
oh, they've got so big now, yeah.
Like, you don't even have to like spoil Captain Marvel the movie to just be like, oh, at the end of it, X-Men's in it. Like, it doesn't change anything in that movie for people watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean,
like if I watched a movie for Marvel, like, what do you think is an acceptable amount of time before I tell you what the tag was?
Oh, like I mean, it depends on the level of the level of it, really. I mean, yeah, like the X-Men one's a perfect example, isn't it? So at the end of that Marvels, again, guys, spoilers, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's Beast, isn't it? He shows up, yeah. So that's a fair, but that's, I mean, yeah, you can argue that's like, yes, obviously it's a spoiler, but it's just also just like it's just a hype up for the next film, Mm-hmm. So it's not. Yeah, okay, but they're just letting you know that they're mix. But I mean, an acceptable time to. I mean, you could argue that you have to wait until it's out on DVD so people can see it.
Yeah, I guess.
If you went to the cinema,
nobody even buys DVDs anymore.
No, they don't. But if you
anyone left, there's me. That's it.
If you went to the cinema and saw it, and you saw Beast at the end, you were like, oh, that's cool. They're gonna mix the X-Men, and then I hadn't seen a movie yet, then yeah, you could argue that, like, okay, it's out for everything, it's out for streaming, it's on all the streaming services and stuff. if you haven't seen it by now, you know, Beast is at the end of this thing. But it's plagued over YouTube now. It's on. You know, you can see them all on YouTube. You know, people, mine at least, the algorithm. Like, I think I saw a bunch of those like scenes just pop up on my feed. So it's hard to gauge, you know, the time frame.
Yeah. Well, as you were saying with trailers and stuff, so the Superman trailer, Superman Legacy trailer, that's getting recut. James Gunn says they're recutting it.
Oh, yeah?
People are like, oh, does that mean it's bad? And he's like, he was on Twitter, he says, no, it's not bad. We'll recut everything. I recut all the Guardians trailers until they're perfect. And we showed them to some people. They make some notes. I'm not worried about that in that sense, but we talked about it on our very first podcast, the pressure that's on that movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now there's pressure on the trailer. Like, it's not even...
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned, like, the Captain America trailer. Like, I saw the one where they do the split screen. I'm like, oh, I like this. I like the way they're changing things up. And then you saw another trailer, and you're like, it looks like 3 movies together. And the Thunderbolts, like, that looks like a good movie. Like, we are still sold on trailers.
Oh, 100%. Like, do you remember? So I remember Man of Steel. Do you remember the teasers? One of them.
I remember the teaser.
So, well, there was 2.
The teaser was so cool. I really loved it.
So what I'm talking about is the one from his. It was 2 from both of his dad's views, wasn't it? It was from his human dad, and then it was from Russell Crowe, his real dad, and it was just them talking to him or something, you know, just
giving him different.
But I thought that was kind of cool, and the music on that was pretty sweet. I think it was actually the same music from Lord of the Rings, like they used in one of their scores from that. So, but yeah.
Well, I remember the very first teaser trailer, which was. I remember it because it was kind of like an art film or like a poem, like a visual poem. It was like the waves crashing, the laundry flapping in the wind, and the birds, and
that's right. Yeah,
it had that Hans Zimmer kind of. It was like real slow, and it was. I think that's the one where they have the Russell Crowe voice of, you know, you were sent for a reason.
Yeah.
And then it ends with the supersonic flight up into the sky. Like, that's it. You don't see any Superman. You don't see any, you know, stuff. You don't see how shit the movie's going to be. You just see the good stuff. And that really got me because it was so left field. Like, you think Zack Snyder, you think exactly what the movie ended up being. But he comes out with this very beautiful, poetic, soft, gentle, like maybe there's going to be a real deep emotional heart to this Superman character. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
But the trailer got me excited.
It got you pumped up.
With this one, I think they're obviously not going to get down the route of like sappy, slow, blah, blah. Because that's not this movie. This movie, from what I feel, I'm trying to think of something like The Incredibles or like Back to the Future. I think that's the feeling I'm getting this is going to be. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be more comedic, and it's going to have a lot more energy to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to feel like one of those kind of movies.
As soon as you said fun, it's like, okay, that's different then to Man of Steel. Because Man of Steel, you're right, it was dark, it was slow, and it wasn't fun really, was it? So
not the end product, but the trailer we were talking about.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'm saying is, like, with this trailer, I don't know what they're going to do with it. They're probably going to do. If it's James Gunn, I assume this is the thing. I don't know if he's going to do what everyone assumes James Gunn would do, which is get a catchy song and then make that part of the trailer so people connect the song to Superman, you know, like the Guardians kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or be like, no, I'm making Superman this time. It's not Guardians. And instead of doing what everyone expects a James Gunn trailer to do, he does what we're kind of hoping, and he's like, I'm going to get the score from John Williams, and I'm going to build it up and go dun, 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 but have like fun moments around that score.
Yeah.
But you have like a little bit of fun, little bit of Lex Luthor, little bit of action, and then you put the score in at the end. I'm like, okay, you might win off a bunch of people.
Yeah. What do you reckon? What do you reckon is are the chances of the first trailer that comes out and it's got the main theme tune in it somewhere in it?
I'm thinking it's got to be high.
I don't think.
It's almost the cynical part of me is like the studio must know that this can't drop. It can't be a bomb. Like it can't just be like.
I hope not.
Oh, a movie comes out. Oh, it's got Superman in it, and we didn't make any money, and it's the start of our cinematic universe. It's like,
yeah, the start of it as well. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, it's like James, you got to put the goddamn score in. Like,
yeah.
we put it in that Flash movie, and that was a train wreck of a disaster. But we made money on it because we had the Batman thing going, like in the trailer. And it's like, and we'd stick Michael Keaton in it. It's like, we can't stick anybody in this because this is a brand new universe. We definitely can't stick Christopher Reeve in it because we already pissed off a lot of people doing that. You have to put the music in, James.
Yeah. One quick thing, and we might have already talked about it, but the Man of Steel had Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner as his dads. It obviously had Henry Cavill. I forget Lois Lane's actor's name. But she was, she's pretty. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Oscar winner Amy Adams.
And it had a bunch of others. So does this new one? Does the new one have a bunch of famous actors, or is it a completely fairly low?
The most, to me, off the top of my head, if I was going to mention somebody, it would be the guy who's playing Lex Luthor.
And that is.
Yeah, exactly. People wouldn't know his name, but they'd know his face. He's in X-Men First Class as the original Beast. He's in Renfield.
Okay.
So he's that actor.
Yes.
I know his name. Yeah. His name is Nicholas Hoult.
Okay.
But he's not a name that people would immediately jump to, but he's a face that you've seen enough in movies.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I know that guy. He's cool.
So that also explains that the movie must be a Lex Luthor movie. Then it's not someone else. It's not like a Doomsday or I don't think they would throw Doomsday so quickly.
Yeah.
But it's Lex Luthor. Then they're going down that road, or maybe he's just in the film as It could be as like a side thing, and if the film does well, then he's bigger in the second or something. I mean, I know Lex Luthor is his main nemesis, but there are other.
We're all in speculation mode now, and I would hazard a guess that. Based on the casting, obviously Nicholas Hoult is much younger than Kevin Spacey, the man who shall not be named, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And Gene Hackman. He's on that level of we can get him for 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah, okay.
And if you're building this is the other thing, if you're building the universe, and from what everyone understands is this movie isn't day one, year one Superman. This is like he's already got his life together. He's already in the planet. He's already, he might already be dating Lois, or they're married. Like, you don't know how far along it is, but it does feel like we're not going in, to see the brand new star and be like, this is Clark Kent and this is Lex Luthor. Yeah. I think we might have Lex. So in that sense, I think Lex is either going to be established and he's going to be in it. Like we're going to have like him and Superman being like, oh, remember last time, Lex, I got you with this, blah, blah, blah. Or like you're saying, maybe this is Superman's established and Lex is brand new. And we're bringing Lex here.
Yeah.
But he's going to be the Thanos. He's going to be against the next 4 or 5 movies down the road.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think Lex done well can be so much more fun. I think the best version of Lex is probably the Justice League cartoon Lex.
Yeah.
Because he's evil, he's manipulative, he's smart, and he's entertaining, and he's enough of a challenge that he doesn't have to be. This is always the thing somebody always said is like the Lex Luthor in the comics is so good at being the bad guy behind the scenes that he still ends up becoming the president of the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Even though his worst enemy is Superman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because people still think he's just a great guy.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's believable that you could have a complete sociopath become the president of the United States. But who knows? Who knows?
No, that's fun. That's fun. And I think like this is
just back to your point. I would say I don't think Lex is going to be the bad guy. I don't see it. I don't see him being the thing that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, that's this is a dumb problem, but I'm just saying this kryptonite is a thing, and that's obviously going to be played in the film. It could be as silly as whoever the villain is in this obviously knows, he finds out about kryptonite, and then he uses that against him. But meanwhile, you know, that's like the stupidest plot there. But that's something like that's an attack on Superman. But meanwhile, we're still seeing Lex in the film, and that's building maybe over a film or two, like you said, like a Thanos kind of thing. So you see him in the first one, and then maybe at the end of it, you're like, oh, he's something. And then the second film, you're like, okay, he's building up even more now, you know. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
The other way you can look at it, if you want to go into the oeuvre, the milieu of the director, is the kind of movies that, the kind of villains that Gunn goes to. Because remember, he wrote the Three Guardians. He didn't just like inherit the script. He wrote that. And you look at the kind of villains that he has in those. You have the original one is just a generic bad guy. The first one is, but the second one is Peter Quill's dad, and the third one is basically Rocket Raccoon's dad.
Okay.
And then the other kind of movies that Gunn does, like Slither, good horror movie. It's these kind of like bigger threats. These kind of like galactic. No single kind of thing is after you. It's like a whole mess of stuff. I would gather from that Gunn isn't going to be doing a big generic villain kind of like, here's a big guy to punch. It's going to be more, it's something that's going to affect Superman's brain, or it's going to be taking over other people, or like, not to say he's just going to take Slither and make that Superman, but we know Superman can just punch anything.
Yeah, that's
so you got to give him a problem it's not punchable straight out. It's got to be, he has to be smarter. He has to figure out a problem. He has to deal with something that's, you know, more emotional, or it requires something of him. Yeah,
it's funny when you mentioned Lex and the way he's thinking and how smart he is, and President. I thought of Batman, you know, and then I was like, oh, he's kind of like an evil Batman. But we've already had Batman versus Superman, so we've
already had a crappy Batman versus a crappy Superman.
I completely forgot that film existed. And then
what I would guess, like, this is not based off anything whatsoever, is if you're gonna have Lex in it, you got to have him maybe do what the Jesse Eisenberg Lex did. He makes something that gets out of control.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So he's in a lab. He's working on something that he found, a piece of kryptonite or a piece of Kryptonian technology.
Yeah.
It blows up. It goes rogue. It's a robot that's taken over people's brains or whatever it is. And Superman's like, I got to fix this. So it's like, you can't blame Lex. He did start it, but you can't blame him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he started the problem, but he's not the problem Superman has to deal with. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the show like Lex is a genius,
that, I think,
but he's not quite the threat.
And it could even be at the end, you know, the end of the film, like he fixes whatever it is, and then someone's on the phone, and then it's Lex, and Lex is like, what happened to my factory, you know, or whatever, you know, because so you're like, oh, it was Lex behind this all along, or, you know, hopefully it's not as cheese as that, but yeah. Now, I just realized that this is our third podcast, and we've probably talked about Superman for another 20 minutes, like half an hour in each one.
It's the only one I want to be good.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm a massive Superman fan, and I want to see it. I want to see it come back. Like I got kids now. I go into Walmart and I'm seeing Spider-Man. I'm seeing Iron Man. I'm not seeing these Superman T-shirts anymore, and I want to see them back. I want to see that coming back. You know, the capes.
Here we go. It's on my desk. There we go. There's the man.
There we go. Yeah, like
I don't care that he changed the logo. People like he changed. I don't give a flying fuck out. I just want a good movie.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm excited that he changed it and it was new, and I was excited to see like the suit. You know, people were like waiting for that reveal and stuff. So I don't think there's any. You can't be overcritical. So
here's an idea. It's a good one. Because he's the cast. I just realized the cast has got Hawkwoman. It's got Metamorpho. It's got Supergirl, and like he's cast a lot of background sub characters.
Yeah,
really, there's so many characters, and it's like they're all gonna be background. I realized what you could do that would be really cool is if Lex again creates some sort of Kryptonian problem or some sort of machine problem that starts taking over all the heroes. Superman has to fight the heroes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because then he can't just punch the crap out of them. Like,
yeah.
It's like, no, I got to actually work this problem. I can't just knock off my cousin's head. Like, I got to actually do good work here.
There was, there was a game that came out recently. I think it was Suicide Squad, the game. And in that game...
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
That's right, yeah. And Superman is evil in that because I think it's... am I right in thinking it's... who's the one... It's not Doomsday. Who's the guy that takes over the mind and like he was in Justice League. The main bad guy. Who? Sorry.
Darkseid.
Darkseid. That's it. Yeah. And he takes over. So yeah, in that. But yeah, I just remember in that game. But there's a couple of like cutscenes in that game where like Superman's just like he just lasers through like Wonder Woman and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like crazy to see scenes like that where you're like, oh, Superman's just fucking obliterating these guys because he's. I'm
excited. I want to have a good Superman movie.
Yeah. Yeah. We're due one.
I think what we saw, like what a lot of people like about Man of Steel was it showed Superman being super, like actually punching something and it like knocks a building down and he flies fast. And
yeah,
the train yard fight is a really good fight. I'll always give that fight as a good one. It's like, okay, so now we've reached a tech level, and if we got a good actor like Henry Cavill, but we don't screw him over, it'd be like, oh, you can have a Christopher Reeve with a Marvel kind of budget. It should be a runaway success.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's a reboot. It's the first one. It's really got a lot going for it. It's got a lot of pressure on it, but it's hopefully got enough people backing it and making sure it doesn't go off the tracks, Yeah.
I hope everybody's ready for our 2-hour review of a trailer.
Oh, yeah, we should. Honestly, when the trailer comes out, whenever it drops, we'll be doing something like that.
We will. It's the one movie I'm excited by.
Yeah.
Like I was excited for Man of Steel. Even though it was shit, I was excited for Batman v Superman. I want a good Superman, Al. I don't have a lot of time left. I need this before I die.
Yeah. Do you have much Superman memorabilia? I know you've got the T-shirt.
Yeah, I got T-shirts. I got jackets.
You got jackets?
I got a jacket.
You do have a jacket. You've got that black jacket, haven't you, with the thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't have a lot. I got a bunch of posters over there. As I'm going to say, no, I don't have a lot of shit.
Here's the thing. So, what is the cup or popcorn bucket going to be? Because it's going to be something, isn't it? Because that's quite a big thing these days. Like Alien had their one. I don't know if Gladiator had one, but what was the other popular one? Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. Dune had the kind of that crazy bucket. I know Sonic is out, and Sonic's got one. Like the mug is like it's Sonic running around the mug, and it's all just like a blue vapor. But yeah, Superman.
What if it's Lex Luthor's big bald head, and you just put your hand in?
It could be like the cup's got its own cape or something. I don't know, but yeah, or something with the S maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, so something with the S is what you would expect.
Yeah. Yeah, well, looking forward to it dropping. I think I said it was going to drop before December, and we're just hit December now, so I'm late.
We just hit December, yeah.
So
I've heard it might drop. Everyone's talking it could drop at the Super Bowl. That's in February.
Oh, I hope it's going to drop. I was hoping it would drop this year.
The Super Bowl is February, and the release date is July, so that's like a 4-month run up.
That can't be. It's got to. I honestly think it's going to be this month. So
yeah. Well, their very first DCU release is coming out. The Creature Commandos. That's out. I want to say this week.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the last podcast.
That's their cartoon. That's coming out on. I want to say it's coming out on Max.
Okay.
Crave. For us, it'll be Crave. For US, it's Max.
Yeah.
So if that's coming out, well, you're kind of screwing yourself. Because if that's really not screwing yourself, but like that's forcing your hand,
right?
Because if that's really good, then you want to release the trailer so people are getting doubly excited.
Yeah,
that's really bad. You want to release the trailer so people forget about that being shit and like get excited for the good thing.
Yeah, And the interesting thing will be, hopefully, Superman, the trailer's good, and it's going to have that momentum, and Marvel seems to be having these bogus things going on, like Captain America might not be. I know we were just talking about the Marvels, and then like She-Hulk's not getting season 2. Well, She-Hulk was a while ago, but so it's had some quite a few misses recently. So it'd be cool, kind of cool and interesting to see DC just kind of go up one, because they've been in the dumpster for a while. So just compared to Marvel's been like kicking them in the face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, even like the last 2 years, you look at like whether you like the movies or not, that's a whole different debate. But Blue Beetle didn't make any money.
No.
Joker 2 hasn't really made any money.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's good or not. It's like money talks.
Yeah. The Batman did well though, didn't it?
Batman's like bulletproof.
It's hard. Yeah, that name just.
He's the one who can't be hurt by bullet. If you made a bad Batman movie, people are like, come on.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
Yeah, and they are doing a sequel, aren't they? Yeah.
Or Batman's another example, because on the TV side, the Penguin show, apparently brilliant. I'm going to try and catch up on that now in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Segue into, did you watch Silo yet?
I have not watched Silo. I haven't been even around that much. So, but no, that one is the top of the list, like before Penguin and all the others. So
yeah. Well, if you watch that one, then I can start watching the season 2, and we can do like bi-weekly season 2 updates.
Yeah, it's season.
But at this rate, season 2 will be over. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing as well. You just kind of binge watch it and go all the way through
all
it.
Right.
So. Any other news updates or?
There's a movie I'm not excited about, but it might have one of the best movie posters I've seen in years, which is something that I know you love as posters.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter.
Oh yeah.
With Aaron Taylor Johnson. I only saw it yesterday. There's a poster that they made, and you'll tell me if it's actual paint or if it's digital paint, but it's basically it's not basic. It is just literally his face.
Okay.
But it's all paint.
Okay, right.
I don't know what that has to do with the movie.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I'll look it up.
It just looks really cool, and it's original. And I'm kind of like, huh.
Yeah.
You don't always get that. You don't always get people putting a bit of effort in. And, of course, it's the Sony Marvel world that brought us to hits like Morbius and Madam Web.
Yeah.
So, not really expecting it to be the greatest movie of all time.
You know what? I can't see the poster right here. Like, I'm seeing a bunch of posters. I watched the first trailer to that, and I really kind of like the look of it. I like the main guy, the actor, as well. He's great in Bullet Train. Is it Bullet Train?
Bullet Train, yeah, he's great in that.
He's really good in that. But the one thing I will say about that movie is I watched that trailer about 2 years ago. What is going on with this film? Like, it should.
It's been a while.
I feel like it should have been out by now. Like, it has been. It's been like coming soon for a long time, so I'm guessing that one's had reshoots as well. So
I would assume so. I guess because that would have been in post would have been in post production as the Madam Web one dropped, and that did not go anywhere where they expected it to. I'm
not joking, but I just looked up the post right now, and one of the posters. Now this could be old or fake, but it said 2023. So was that supposed to come out?
Yeah, they've been talking about it for years because For people who don't know, that Sony still have the rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the current deal is that the Spider-Man movies will be co-productions between Marvel Studios proper and Sony.
Yeah.
So the Tom Holland movies both of them get in on it.
Mm.
But all the other Spider-Man characters, Venom is the biggest example, they all belong to Sony. Sony can make as many movies about the Spider-Man world.
Yeah.
They can't put in Captain America. They can't put in Hulk. But they can say, here's Venom, here's Madam Web, here's Carnage, here's Dr. Octopus. They can make a movie out. Aunt May, they can make a movie about. And so they've gone through, the Kraven the Hunter. So they have this weird gamble that, like, if they make a movie about somebody that's weirdly connected to Spider-Man, they can get into him.
Yeah.
So they Morbius, and that was Bollocks.
Oh my
goodness. And they said, but at the end of it, we'll put in Michael Keaton from the other Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man will be in it one day.
Right.
So, what? Get bent.
Yeah.
What are you on about?
Yeah, because come to think of it, I played the Spider-Man games on PlayStation, but there's a new. I say there's a new one. It came out last year, but it was like around this time last year. But it had Spider-Man 2, but it had Kraven as one of the bad guys in it. It has Venom, but it has Kraven as well.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding, dude. I think that maybe that game was supposed to come out around the same time as the film. So the film is is quite delayed.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I think the film is quite delayed, like at least 8 months, like out of whack. But yeah, anyway, I hope it's good. It's got Russell Crowe as well as his dad, I think. Is that right? Yeah,
Russell Crowe, he's in his dad era.
Yeah,
he's been playing all the dads.
Yeah. The lion basically was eating him, and his dad's like, just leave him. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I'll be all right.
Yeah. No, it's there's a bunch coming up, but nothing compared to the Superman. So.
Superman. We're just gonna rename the podcast. When's Superman coming?
Yeah, when's it coming out?
Hurry up, Superman.
Well, this is completely changed. This is still movies, but just one that I thought was kind of comical. I thought it was comical because I got kids. There's another Toy Story coming. I don't want there to be another Toy Story. So it'll be 5. But this time it's going to be playing on tablets. So it's going to be like their enemy is the tablet, which is funny because obviously kids and like I give the tablet to my kids and stuff like that. So I don't. Yeah, like I said, I don't really want to see another one. I didn't even think they needed to do 4. I thought.
I didn't watch 4. I watched 3.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it. I'm not emotionally mature enough to deal with them leaving them on the step and waiting.
Yeah.
I broke down.
Well, number 4 makes you break.
I broke down like a 3-legged donkey. I just couldn't do it. And then when the 4th one was coming out, I'm like, I can't. Like, it's not that I heard it's really great, but it was like,
it is.
It's the same problem with the Gladiator 2 thing of like, no, this is fine. Yeah. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't need more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Like it doesn't need it. It's coming out, and yeah, apparently it's the tablet stuff. But there is this is kind of changing subject a little here. But AI, obviously AI. We need to do a whole podcast on AI because it's affecting the industry like crazy. But I just want to touch on it just like very small for these Disney films and these kind of animated films because damn. AI in the next like 5 years even is you're going to be able to create some of these scenes in AI much smaller studios. So if you've got a good story and good kind of characters, you're going to have it's going to stand up to DreamWorks and Pixar and all of that stuff, because you're going to be able to create you're going to be able to create some of this stuff. So those guys are in like I know filming something is different. I know if you're using AI and you're filming, like it's not, you can recreate scenes in AI and it will look realistic. And I'm sure in 10 years it will look photorealistic and you might not be able to tell the difference. But there's still something about, setting up the shot, having the camera, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to animated films, like at the end of the day, they're just rendering the scene. They're just like, oh, I want this scene to have grass in the background and trees, but I want it to have like a blue light. Now, you can tell AI to do that right now, and it can create quite a cool scene. But in like 5, maybe 10 years, it's going to be able to create those scenes in like 8K. It's going to be able to animate those scenes. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen to Pixar and DreamWorks and stuff, dude. Yeah. Like that is.
Well, I agree with you. I was talking to someone about this. They're like, oh, AI is going to come and take all the film jobs. Like, you're missing what AI is. AI is. It is like you said. It's a rendering. It's a self-rendering animated movie. Like all we ever see of AI is like these little 10-second clips because that's mostly what people can get the online thing to do. Yeah. Like that's the amount of processing power you can get online through your Wi-Fi, through whatever server that Soma or Runway or ChatGPT is running, and then send it to your house. Like people, the general public, the layperson, as far as I perceive it, is they kind of miss the point that it's still computing power. And you take a brand new movie that came out like Moana 2 or Inside Out 2, that took 4 years for a bunch of engineers to make. It's not just animators, like engineers have to sit, this, and they have to write the code. And I'm a huge Pixar fan of like all their behind the scenes and the movies like The Incredibles.
Yeah.
They had to sit down and they had to write how to make their hair work, which seems stupid. But it's like, no, you have to figure out
physics and stuff like that. Yeah.
Same thing with The Last of Us, a big game like that, or Red Dead Redemption. These games take years to make, not because it's that hard to make the story. Like the story's not 4 years in the making necessarily. It's you have to make this scene, you have to render this scene, you got to put the lighting in, you got to put the grass in, you got to put the color in, put the cloud in, put this in. It doesn't look right. Do it again. So if you're taking that as just a baseline, you're spending $100 million on an animated movie. It's not $100 million necessarily on, like you said, setting up a camera or putting an actor on stage. Yeah. It's like, no, I have to pay all these engineers to put the effort in of like, move his head, do this, go that. No, up a bit. It's like, AI can do that if you just say, put the little blue figure running in the background and then put our red character in the... Yeah, you take out that middle person, but rendering wise, you can't do it on your iPhone. You can't do it on a laptop. It's still going to take those huge banks of computers all night long. Like Toy Story is an example, the original, where they would have to render scenes overnight.
Yeah.
They would make a scene or a shot, and then they'd render it and then look at it the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they had no idea. They had no idea what it was going to do because the computer has to put in all these lighting effects, texture effects. It has to make Woody's clothes look like clothes and his face look like... That's still a problem that AI will hit. Yeah. You can ask it to say, oh, I want an animated movie and the horses are going to run across the field and one of them's going to have a blue cape. It's like, okay, that's going to take terabytes of information to make it look anyway decent.
Yeah, to make it look like the way that you want to, and then add those iterations until you get to what you want as well. Yeah, no,
I think that's the key thing is iterations. Once it gets to the point where you can iterate and you can re-prompt something that's being made, the AI is got the capacity to realize what it has made. Because when you're able to do that, then you do take away the animators essentially.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you don't take away the rendering, but you do take away the people. So you're right in that the studios, the part that is the studio currently, which is the hardworking engineers and animators, that's what AI will replace. But in terms of anybody being able to do it, we're still a way away because there's only so many people in the world who have the money or the will to put in millions of dollars for the hardware you need for the AI to run
to do it.
Thing. Like you can't. I won't be able to sit at home and make Inside Out 3 on my computer. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. No, like you said, you're still going to need the studios to kind of back it and to have the money and to have the computing power and all that lot, and and to take those chances and iterations and stuff like that. It will definitely get more streamlined, that's for sure. It's just nuts, kind of what AI can already do and like where it will go as well. But that's a whole.
The quote that always terrified me with AI was, this was a year ago, maybe just over a year ago, when ChatGPT was answering questions, and somebody tweeted this when Twitter was a thing. They said, whatever version you're looking at right now, that is the worst that AI will ever be.
Yeah. I think I read something very similar.
Oh, man, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's already come a long way, because I even remember like 2 or 3 years ago, some of the prompts, and I know it's always had trouble with like hands and feet, and I think it still does. But it'll be kind of funny to look back on those times where it's like, that's what it did with hands, and and it was only like a little 320 by 320 image, but again, that comes back to like the computing power, and that's like, if you want to generate like a 4K image and it to look damn good, then you're going to need to pay, to do
like that. That's what I mean. Like, it's one thing to say anybody can make an animated movie, and I agree with you, that will be the case in a lot of sense, but having something that you will feel as a competitor for a Pixar movie, that's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, as I say that, like, you take one of your kids, or you take any kind of like kid from 6 to 12, and you're just saying, hey, you can make any movie you want. They don't really give a crap if it looks like Toy Story 5. They're just kind of like, oh, I made exactly this thing happen. They're going to love it.
No, totally. I mean, they're even doing that. Right? My niece right now, she made a book, a children's book, but she generated all the images and then like wrote a story, and then it kind of like, put it into pages and blocks for her and stuff. But it's like just being able to do stuff like that. You can make like your own board games, So you'd be like, I want to make like a Dungeons and Dragons board games. I want the tiles to be like these stones and stuff, and it will like generate this thing, and then you can print that out and then play that. But it's just like the creativity of it. Like it just kind of it just makes things a lot quicker, to do things, and it's crazy how quick it's evolving. So like, when I was saying with the Pixar stuff, like 5 to 10 years, like, holy shit, I don't know where we're going to be in 10 years. Like 10 years of AI, the way it's advancing, you can't predict it really. So, but yeah.
I think you're right. I think we have to have a whole podcast on it.
About it. 100%, because unfortunately it is affecting both we're in like very similar industries, so it is affecting them, but it's a whole other podcast. So
yeah. Well, to me, the just thinking ahead to what that podcast is there's a whole social dynamic to it. There's like jobs, there's economy, like it's a bigger effect than I think a lot of people might have realized at first. It's not just it's going to take your job. It's going to change fundamentals about our world. Yeah. At least that's my. I'm optimistic about it. I like Superman. Yeah. I feel good about the future, but I'm also like, oh, this is going to kill us all because Terminator.
Yes, Skynet. So, fun fact.
Here's a robot question. I got a robot question for you this week. And this is something that's real, so I know this is cool. I can go into it. I learned here on the island they're bringing in robot surgeons.
Oh, yeah.
So this was really interesting. It was a case of when they're doing abdominal surgery or stomach surgery, which is a big issue because you get in there. It's very sensitive. It's all muscle. Like your intestines are a muscle. And, if anybody knows it, the intestines are miles long, and if a doctor has to get in there and do something in your stomach, they got to cut something. This is going to get gross, so people might need a warning. They have to cut a big enough hole so they can put their hand in and then, be cutting around.
Right.
The way this new robot's working is kind of like the Dr. Octopus arm.
Oh, yeah.
You just like a tube, and they just make a tiny incision, and then the robot arm goes in, and at the end of the robot arm, they have whatever tool they need. And so the surgeon is on the outside with like controllers, and he's controlling the surgery inside the stomach. And the robot does the little thing, and then it goes out and it comes.
Sheesh.
And then I saw one iteration of that is like very soon in the future, you're going to have like the Google glasses or the regular glasses, which will give you an AI image. So there'll be a camera on. There's a camera on it already, but the camera there will feed you to a giant image of whatever the thing is. So instead of like working on the millimeter, the doctor's going to see, whatever you've got a abscess or whatever on your stomach or inside you, or tumor or something terrible like that. He's going to have like a 10-foot wide image, and he's going to be able to like, oh, here's what we have to cut out of, like, this is the bad tissue. We got to cut this. So for him, he's doing these huge, giant movements.
Yeah, just making it.
But the little robot on the inside is just going like
very minute. Yeah, but he's just like, oh, this. But then the robot's just doing a little thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's real. That's an actual thing that's now part of the world. They're doing robot surgeries.
Yeah.
They do it. Like I said, they're focusing on the hard to reach places. So your stomach and throat, because they can just put something straight down your throat, and they can work on all of this because obviously doing anything in your throat, I know there's a lot of people gagging right now in this post. I love this stuff. But if you're doing anything in someone's throat, you can risk like they're not going to be able to breathe, and like how big of a hole do you have to cut? And but if you just got a little tiny robot,
yeah.
Question for you is: at what point are you going to let a robot work on you for surgery?
Wow, that kind of
now this is my thing. A robot.
Yeah.
This isn't a doctor. Like when you go into the room, they're going to wheel you in and be like, "Oh, sorry, Mr. Fleming, you got a problem with your appendix or whatever. We're going to get it taken out." You got we got the Surgeon Bot 6000 here.
Surgeon Bot 6000.
I was like, it could look like a human. It could look like that Optimus thing that Tesla's got, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a robot.
Yeah.
And there's like, that's it. Like, this is a machine.
It needs a few years. Like, it doesn't need like it doesn't need like a crazy amount.
Is that what you're gonna say to them as you're in the hospital? You're going, it needs a few years.
Give
me a minute.
Get the human in. Get the human. You know what made me instantly think when you said that was laser eye surgery. You know, when that first came out. I mean, it came out a long time ago, but I think there's a lot of people that didn't trust that. I know that's not done by it is done by a robot because they have to like cut a a slither of your eye off or whatever. But there's still people that don't trust that. But that is I mean, that's really been out for a long time. But that's like a half day procedure now. You can go and you can walk into like not Shoppers Drug Mart, but something like that, you know, and then get it done and just walk out the same day. But it just made me think of that because if there's a procedure and it's done by a robot, I think I'd need like a year or so of surgeries, you know. So like, you know, but again, like you said, like if I'm lying there and I kind of would almost trust a robot though, even if they were like your patient 10, you know, out of whatever. You know? They were like, but all 10 were successful, Mr. Fleming, you know. So or you know,
well, that's the thing of like. There's an odd human quirk psychologically where we'll ask about like, well, how often does the robot fail?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the number is, it's gonna be magnified in your head. Yeah. Like I guess the best way was it's almost racism. Like we're just like, oh, the robot failed. But it's like, yeah, the robot fails, but the robot's doing 100 times more surgeries than the human. Yeah. So like you might get a doctor who's come out of surgery or come out of surgeon school and he's done heart surgery. I don't know how many times could you do heart surgery? Like maybe once every 2 weeks, once a week. And he's done that for 10 years. So maybe he's done 500. Let's say he's super busy. Let's say he's done 1,000 surgeries. Yeah. In like his 30-year career or 20-year career. And then the robot, technically, like the AI is a learning machine, is going to have like all the network for the whole network all across the country. So technically that robot brain has done 100,000 surgeries. Yeah. 200,000 surgeries. It's like iterated the practice all the time and it never gets sleepy and it never gets tired and it's never going to have a heartbeat. So it's not going to like do this or be nervous or sweat or be hungry,
and it can remember as well. It'd be like, I've seen something like this before, you know, goom, you know. Yeah. So I mean,
but my point was like, even then, like you'd be like, oh yeah, it's done 100,000 surgeries, but 500 people died. You're like, oh fuck no. And you're like, yeah, but 500 out of 100,000 is less than 1%.
Yeah, you gotta look at the less than 10% percentages and stuff like that. So
yeah. But you're immediately going to think that robot killed those people.
Yeah, of course.
It killed them.
Take it to court. Take the robot to court. So
yeah, it's almost like I think it's going to turn into a thing of like your kids are going to be looking at us being like, "Why do you guys hate robots so much?" Like, I'm not having that in my house.
It's even Google. We've got Google, and Leah. She says when we ask Google something, she always says please and thank you. Because she's like, because it might come for us one day. And then it's going to be like, you didn't fucking say it. You treated me like shit. And then it'll say to Leah, it'll be like, on your way. On your way, man. On your man. On your way.
Feels.
Basically Skynet, you know. It's just like sending the bombs down. Leave this house. This one's all right. They said please and thank you, you know. So,
let them live in the ruins.
Yeah. Funny like Easter egg story. I had a friend of mine and he might still do sky.net, the URL. So
oh yeah,
I was like, that's a good URL, Skynet. So
but that is a good one.
Sky.net, but yeah. Are they doing another Terminator film? Is there anything going on there? What was
the Terminator animated show on
That's
Netflix?
Right, on Netflix. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've got a couple of good ideas for a Terminator movie. Let me do it.
Yeah, give someone else
a go. Worse than what they've done.
I know the last couple were just like Arnold was just fucking. Why is he doing that? But yeah.
All right, I think I've derailed your talking points. What else have you got to talk about?
What have I got going on? I think you hit most of it. I had one, but I'm going to save it for a podcast in a couple of years. A couple of years.
A couple of years.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was more around Christmas, so I'll save it for that because for when we get closer to Christmas. Right. So the only other things I had was just to talk a little bit on the gaming stuff. I could do that on the next week one, though. I know we're already running long. But what I did want to mention was there's two Marvel and DC games that came out, which I might do a little stream of. So there's Iron Man for VR, where you actually have to use the thrusters and everything, and then which is very cool. And then done by the same company, which is a company called Camouflage. They just brought out Batman, and it's part of the Batman Arkham series. So it's the VR version.
Yeah, I saw a stand in. Can't remember where I was, in the mall or something. And yeah, they had like the VR headsets on sale for Black Friday.
Yeah, if you buy one, you get one. Yeah, so I might do a stream of each of those games, just like basically the first hour of each of the games, because it's relevant. It's obviously gaming, but it's those movies, Iron Man and DC, but Marvel. But yeah, there was that, and then I did have a bunch of kind of gaming stuff, but I'm gonna save that for another week because I don't want to rack this up to like a 2-hour cast. The one thing I will mention is, because I'm looking around there because my VR headset's on there, is that I have been using that quite regularly for watching movies. So you know when you put like a headset on, it kind of can give you like a virtual screen. So these new headsets, you can actually see the outside world in color. So if I put it on right now, I could still just do this podcast and everything. I could see everything. Everything's got depth perception. So like the wall is where it is. It's so I can touch it or whatever. But yeah, I could create like basically 120-foot screen in front of me and watch that. Now that's cool here, but I've got a TV in my room anyway. But what is super fucking cool is if you're on a plane or you're in a hotel room or you are stuck in the office and it doesn't have a TV, you just put that headset on and you can put that screen in front of you. Now you can put that screen in front of you and you can basically make yourself kind of appear in a beach if you want to, or you can have, like I said, the cameras on, which is how I watch it most of the time because I've got the kids just in case like the kids come in. But yeah, you're sitting in your room, 120-foot, like I put Maverick on the other day, 120-foot screen in front of you. You can even have it so like the colors like affect the walls behind you and stuff like that. And it's got pretty nice sound as well. So the multimedia, and you can watch YouTube and everything like that. So the multimedia of that device, like watching movies, it's not just about playing games, as like really shot up. I've never had the opportunity to try it on a plane. I'm not sure how I'd feel because you look like a complete tool with one of those things on. But at the same time, who cares? You're on the plane. You're going.
Yeah, you're watching this little box.
Let's just say you're flying home to Ireland or something, and you've got that little thing in front of you. The little, your airline gives you the little thing. You're like, no, I'll put this on. Suddenly, you're in a cinema. You can actually appear in a cinema if you really want to, with like the armchair. And you're just like, yeah, I'll watch Maverick for, the next 3 hours. So it is pretty cool for that. I might even do like a quick little, I can put the headset on and like share the screen while we're casting kind of thing, just to show what I mean. But yeah, just for anyone out there that is interested in something like that, it's just very cool to kind of create a screen anywhere. You could also work from it as well. So you can kind of connect to your computer. So you can connect to your Mac or your Windows computer, and then you can have virtual screens in front of you. So even though my computer is like my PC is 2 floors up, I can put this headset on right now, connect to that computer, but I can have like 2 or 3 virtual screens in front of me. And if I just brought my mouse and keyboard down, I have my computer down here with the big screen. So it's cool for that as well. And that's kind of the approach that Apple, because Apple have their own headset, and that's their approach to VR. So they didn't do it as like a gaming headset. They did it more as a multimedia headset. And I think people like that. The Apple one's way too expensive, but they liked how they marketed it as like it can be your PC or your Mac anywhere, but it can also be this really big screen. So Meta of course, have kind of tried to copy them. So they've made their headset, even though it's very good for gaming, as we know, they've also made theirs really good for like multimedia and viewing as well. So yeah, but I'll get into some gaming stuff maybe on the next one. Because we got like the Switch 2 from Nintendo coming out next year.
There's a Switch 2?
Coming out next year because the Switch has been out 8 years. 8 years, and it's the second most popular.
God, I told you I'm dying. I just want one good Superman movie before I die.
Yeah,
you're running me into an early grave now. 8 years, holy moly!
Time flies, man. Time flies. So, and
time flies, and it buries you. It just crashes in and buries you.
Yeah, but no, I think that was
8 years.
That was
That's
many,
2 podcasts ago.
2 podcasts, yeah, just exactly. Just like one Game of Thrones, one Avengers podcast.
One Endgame.
That's it. Yeah, Endgame. Yeah, that was it. So, I think I mentioned it on the last one, but one of the comments was like, "Good to see you back, lads. We'll see you again in 3 years."
So good. I'll have to reply to some of the comments too. I appreciate everybody leaving comments just so they all know.
Yeah, I'm going to make the effort of actually looking up some of the names and we can read them off at the beginning of the next one and say, we appreciate you. And I'll put comments on this time. So,
all right, here's a question then. I don't know if you want to end on this or whatever else you want to talk about. But it is now, we're recording this December 1st.
That's right.
It's Christmas. I'm sure you've got your one and then you got the one you have as a dad. But for you, what's the Christmas movie? What is your Christmas movie? Not at Christmas movie, but what is your at Christmas movie?
That's funny because that was one of my questions I was going to leave for Christmas, but I'll answer it now. Yeah.
But no, we can get it now so that when Christmas comes, people are like, I'm going to watch that movie.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, how did you say it? Like,
Lambs.
did you say a movie I like to watch at Christmas or a Christmas movie? Which one?
A movie you like to watch at Christmas? Because there's very few good Christmas movies.
Yeah. So the last like maybe 7 years I have watched, and it's a classic, but I've been watching Die Hard. So yeah. I watch it. So, but that kind of answers both of them because it is a Christmas movie.
It's one of the only few Christmas movies out there.
So, but I haven't watched that. But that's like fairly predictable. But I honestly have every Christmas Eve been watching that. And even so, that Lear bought a children's Die Hard book, so I can read it to the kids. Yeah. So it's a cartoon version of it. Also, I just ordered. It's my Christmas party next week, and I just ordered a Christmas a Die Hard sweater, and it's Yippee-ki-yay and Merry Christmas, and it's just got him smoking a cigar in the middle. But it's done like ugly Christmas sweater style, or whatever. So Die Hard's definitely up there. I did just ask my wife because I was, trying to think of some things for the podcast, and she mentioned one because obviously we watch things together. She loves Elf, but that's a Christmas.
Will Ferrell, yeah.
But that's a Christmas movie. And then what's the other one that we watch? I mean, again, this one is a Christmas movie, but we watch it with the boys. It's the Grinch Stole Christmas, but it's the animated one with Benedict Cumberbatch, which is very good.
Oh, is that a new one?
It's probably about 5 years old. So, but it's an animated one, so it's Pixar, but it's Benedict Cumberbatch. But all of those are actually Christmas movies. But what about you?
Elf is a good one. Elf is also Jon Favreau.
Oh yeah, okay. Really? Yes.
Oh yeah, Iron Man and The Mandalorian, like the big honcho.
Okay.
It's come a long way from hanging around with Vince Vaughn and messing about.
Yeah, he's like
baby money.
He's got a good
Christmas movie. I only thought of it this year because I haven't watched it in so long. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay.
And that's now 25-year anniversary coming up.
25?
I want to talk about time flies. But
yeah, that is nuts. Okay.
Yeah, and if you remember, that came out, that was every Christmas for 3 years.
It was. Okay. Because it was it came out then, and then they had the break, and then they did the Hobbits and stuff like that, didn't they? So, yeah.
But I've watched that movie. I've watched it a lot, but I haven't watched it like crazy amounts.
Yeah,
and I can't remember the last time I watched it.
But you like to watch it around Christmas,
just because it's associated with Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's the one I might do this year. The other one that I always watch at Christmas is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Any one of the Indiana Jones at Christmas was always something that for some reason I always remember catching. Yeah. Like you check the newspaper when we had newspapers and you see, oh, Indiana Jones is on today. And
yeah.
But The Last Crusade especially is always the one that like, it's emotional. It's that writing. It's literally they ride off into the sunset. And
okay.
We don't talk about the fourth one, and I haven't even watched the fifth one. Like we're back in that world of like, it doesn't need it. And I think Raiders is the better movie. It's a more perfect movie, but Last Crusade always gets me. And I remember watching it especially because John Rhys Davies is in it. He's also in Lord of the Rings. But Sean Connery died. And I remember like he died, and then like I watched the Christmas, like, oh man, it's so weird. Like I always do that whenever I don't kill celebrities. That's not what I'm saying. When a celebrity dies, you always go and watch like something that he did.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Carl Weathers, he passed fairly recently. So what are you going to do? You're going to watch either Happy Gilmore, or you're going to watch
Happy Gilmore,
or you're going to watch Predator. Yeah. Like I watched Predator. It's just one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, or Rocky.
Or Rocky. Yeah, like pick a great movie that he's not in. And just with that Last Crusade and like. We were talking about Ridley Scott being old. I'm like, oh crap, Harrison Ford's old.
Yeah,
and I'm like, of all the, this has gone off in a thing, but it's the same point of like watching Last Crusade. Here's my point. Sorry about what I was saying with Connery. Is like, there's something very strange about getting older and aging. Like I remember watching Last Crusade when I was, let's say, 12, right? So 500 years ago. And then watching it when I was 30-something when he just passed. And, like, it's the same movie, but it's not the same movie, you know? Everything in your life has completely changed the way you look at it.
Right, yeah.
And that was, like, one of the first times where, not that I felt old, but I finally got that real spectrum shift of, oh, this is what it's like to watch a film in one part of your life, and this is what it's like to watch a film in another part of your life. And this one, the recent one, he could never explain to that one what it's like. Like I can remember what it's like to watch a film as an innocent child, but when you're older and you've got all the experience and you're watching a film again, it's like, yeah, you know what the jokes are and you know where the things are happening, but there's that whole thing of like getting older, seeing people pass on, seeing these actors that you knew.
Yeah, because I think was the guy that played Candyman, he passed away recently as well. And I think, is he in Indiana Jones as well? Is he like a bad guy in that? Oh no, you know what? You know what I'm getting confused by? Is so there's an Indiana Jones game. I don't know if you know about this. There's a game coming out in like a week. And
that's weird.
It's on Xbox, and it looks like really great. It looks authentic. And the actual visuals are Harrison Ford, but the voice is done by Troy Baker, who is like a gaming kind of voice guy, and he's also someone that plays in The Last of Us. He's actually the voice of the guy from Uncharted, you know, the Uncharted games. I know. But funny enough, he's playing the voice of Indiana Jones, but the actual visual and face is Harrison Ford. But the game's out in like a week, and it's done. But it's like done by the to make it feel like a classic film. But anyway, one of the bad guys in that is the Candyman actor. I guess they must have used his face as well.
I just looked it up. His name's Tony Todd.
I should have. I'm so bad with names, but I really should know them. He was also recently played the voice of Venom in the Spider-Man games as well.
All right, give you a quick rundown of some films that he's been in, just so we can appreciate what he gave us. He was in The Crow. Candyman, the original from 1992.
Yeah.
He was also in The Rock with Sean Connery, like I just said.
Yes, I do. I remember him that.
And he's done a lot of voices for stuff. He was in Spider-Man 2, the video game. He was the voice of Venom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tony Todd, great collection of movies.
Yeah, he was great. I always remember Candyman because I never wanted to do the whole in the mirror thing.
And there's a very good documentary, I think it's on Shudder, about there's a lot of documentaries, but specifically about black people in horror movies, and like Tony Todd as Candyman, and how that broke a lot of barriers because he's the villains were always your Michael Myers, your Jasons. They're the big white guy.
Mm.
Have the horror element become a black man, and what that did for him and what it did for the community. It was really interesting. It's like a perspective that you don't get because you're on the outside of it.
Yeah, I heard a
couple other ones that he's done in here just for the guys who were listening to us, or girls, or whatever you call yourself. I don't give a shit. Justice League, he played Darkseid in the voice for one of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
Oh yeah, he's got the voice for it, hasn't he? He's got that deep kind of croaky voice.
He was in Masters of the Universe Revelation cartoon. Yeah, he was going all the way, and then he was in the Flash TV series.
Okay.
As the voice of Zoom, so he wasn't playing it, but he was the voice of one of the villains.
Yeah.
Good old Tony Todd.
Yeah, R.I.P. He, I was reading that he.
Many credits. I can't even begin to go back to all this stuff. He was on the original MacGyver. He was on 21 Jump Street, the original one.
How old was he? Was he in his 80s?
He was. No, I don't think he was that old. I think he was just touching 70.
Okay.
Born in 1954, died 2024. Yeah, 70 years old exactly. Nearly to the day, 69.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was suffering from something the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, but to get morbid and back to my tangent point that I made was Harrison Ford. He's going to be General Ross in Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
Our Christmas movies? I said Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, and Last Crusade. This is a weird morbid. What is the Harrison Ford movie? What is the one that you will, tip your cap, have a drink, and be like, "Thanks, Harrison. You did so many great movies.
Yeah,
you've defined so much of our culture, our childhood, our adulthood."
Yeah, I think honestly, I know we were just talking about it, but it is Indy for me. I know he's got the Star Wars. I know he's got so many, but yeah, he wasn't. I'm more of an Indy fan than I am a Star Wars fan. So, but obviously, I think the majority of people might go Star Wars because that's that franchise. But he's obviously done a lot of other good stuff. Like I loved him in Air Force One.
So, Air Force One.
Yeah, I mean,
the list of movies that he's in.
Yeah.
There's. Oh my God! It's incredible what he did in his career. Not that he's dead. We're talking like he's dead, but
no.
he's 82. He's not a spring chicken.
Yeah, and he's even got he's even got the TV shows. Like you were mentioning, that Shrinking is pretty good.
Shrinking is really good.
Yeah.
But there's movies that he did that were. They're not the big franchises, but they're the ones that he really kind of stretched himself. Witness, I think he got nominated for an Oscar for that. That's a really good film.
Expendables.
I
think he was in that though, wasn't he?
Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
But he was the original Jack Ryan, and then Alec Baldwin took over, and then it was the other one, not Chris Pratt. John Krasinski.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, I quite like those series of Tom Clancy's. So.
Damn, he just got hit after hit. Air Force One, The Devil's Own, Sabrina. He was good in that. Clear and Present Danger. He's just what a legend.
Yeah, he's and he's still kind of pumping out great films. So
yeah, he hasn't stopped. It's the one thing about Harrison Ford. That he's a grumpy old man, and he's always been a grumpy old man, even when he was younger. But he just doesn't like the press. He doesn't like doing talk shows or sitting on the red carpet and answering the same question 40 times and all this. But he clearly loves movies. He's 82 years old, and he's still out there working.
Yeah.
Year in, year out on big movies, TV shows, whatever it is.
He's I've seen a couple of funny things about him. First one was he had David Blaine, the magician, come around his house.
That's a great clip.
Have you seen the clip? Check that out. You got to check it out. But the end of the clip, David Blaine's doing this thing. He's pick a card, any card, blah blah blah, and he flings the card out from somewhere, and he's like, "Is this your card?" And it is. And Harrison Ford just looks at him and goes, "Get the fuck out of my house." It's just like he's just not into it at all, and I think he was deadly serious. He was like, "How did you even do this? Get out of my house!"
Yeah.
And the other clip I love about him, he's on Graham Norton with Canadian guy, a guy that played in Barbie, Canadian dude.
Gosling. Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, he's sitting next to Gosling, and Gosling's telling a story how his family came across some cellophane when they were younger, like a truck full of cellophane. So they would sell it at he would sell it at school, like Gosling would, and then Harrison Ford's just there next to him. I think it must have been for Blade Runner, when they did Blade Runner.
Yeah,
and he just looks at Gosling and he's like, "What do you use cling film for?" And then everyone's just like, "What do you mean? What do you use cling film for?" Is this like, I don't know, like wrap your sandwich in it or something? But it's just he just came out of this random thing. Like he's the oldest one on the couch, and he didn't really know what cling film was, And it was just such a random quote, and he was just like really confused by like cling film and what do you do with it? Plastic wrap, you know. So he's a funny character.
He's great. He's such a dry humor. Yeah.
And then he could just snap right into it and just be like, give you some good, information and just talk without, laughing or whatever. But yeah.
All right, that's for that's my morbid end of the episode. Can't wait till this guy dies so we can watch his
I was
movies.
just gonna say nothing better happened to him. So
I know, the goddamn Cassandra with my prophecies. But if there you go for all our listeners or watchers. Are they watchers or listeners, Al? I don't know.
Bit of both.
Yeah, let us know. What's your favorite Harrison Ford movie?
Yeah. Bang it in the comments.
Not even the best one. Just what's your favorite? Like the same with the Christmas things. Like Indiana Jones: Last Crusade. It's not the best Indiana Jones. Not the worst, but it's not the best. But it's my favorite. It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
You don't always have to like the best one.
It's your decision. It's your decision.
I think that's it. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up, guys. We'll wrap it up so that, we don't take over the whole world.
No. So. And we can maybe give you some time to watch Silo, which you're not going to do. But I'm going to keep bugging you until you do.
It will happen. I was in somewhere yesterday and the trailer for number 2 came up. And I purposely was like, no, I can't watch this. No. Because I need to see the first one first, Yeah. But yeah, I know. Like I said, I know it's good, and I know kind of what to look out for. So, but yeah, I did turn the head away because I was like, don't want to spoil this already. So,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Tuning in with your little thing, like, Rant Bollox. So, and
you should make an app like that. Do an app that does that for YouTube channels. Like you just get it on your phone and you just spin all like.
That would be quite funny. Yeah, or it could be an app of just discovering channels. You just spin it and you can just get to a random channel. And it's like, oh, these guys are cool.
All right, somebody make that on ChatGPT. Put in the comments. Give us a link referral. We'll be rich.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks for another week. Has it been a week? It's been a week. Thanks for another week. Yeah. Take it easy, y'all.
All right.
Take care of each other.
Tally-o.
Bye.